now, right 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 now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today, and shall we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the war. The government has been getting. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about why Bitcoin is about to go through a major rally all the way back up to 112,000. That's right. The brakes are off of Bitcoin now, and I'm extremely confident that we are about to see a massive rally on your favorite cryptocurrency. Today, we're going to be breaking down the fundamental, technical, and practical reasons why a major breakout is coming to Bitcoin very, very soon, and I can't wait to get into it with you. So let's go ahead and read some chat. Thank you, everybody who is here this morning, this afternoon, actually. We spent the rest of the morning finishing this new studio. I hope you like it. We're very much a work in progress, but I figured we should go ahead and get it online ahead of schedule because we had decided that we were going to launch this new set on Monday. I decided to work all through the night, all of this morning, getting it finished, set up. Here we go. It's not done. Got a lot to do, but I'm very excited about how it looks. Tell me what you think in the chat. I hope you enjoy it. Cole Hebert is in chat. Matanya Holmes, Arthur De Vroom. Hypermix is in chat. Called out. Ian Briggs, Anthony Roybal, Crypto King. Let's see. Crypto Surge is in chat. Juan Hernandez is in chat. Angela W. from England. Crypto Val. Angela W. Pat B. Tyndall's Beard. I really appreciate all of you for being here. I really appreciate all of you for being here. Haha, look at what we can do. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. I'm serious. I'm laid back. I'm serious. I'm laid back. Hey, by the way, we're not done with the studio. There is actually another part of this studio that is currently a work in progress that you will be seeing soon. This is just one camera angle. We've got a few more that are coming. Very excited about this. We've got a 1780s colonial china cabinet over here that some of our watches and awards are going to go in. Going to be getting all the books up here. Just kind of decorated it to get it started. But a lot of things are coming. Cannot wait to show you where we are going. Very excited about all this. And without much further ado, guys, let's get started. We're here for some crypto. Where's Bitcoin going? Let's figure that out. Bitcoin right now is trading at $107,313. I am personally of the opinion that we're about to break bullish here. I'm going to explain exactly why. In fact, I have a trade open right now based on this. Now, I've been talking to you guys over the last week about why I believe Bitcoin is about to rally back up to 112,000. I want to break it down very simply for you. The first thing that we've got to understand is that Bitcoin just had the brakes taken off of it. Everything that was bearish on Bitcoin, namely the Iran-Israel war, has been revoked. We are no longer under that same auspice of bearishness. No, instead, what we're looking at right now is a world where Israel and Iran are being forced into peace by President Donald Trump. President Donald Trump did not want Iran having a nuclear weapons program. He got his wish on that. Donald Trump did not want Israel and Iran to continue fighting because he doesn't want all of this conflict in the Middle East that is terrible, number one, for human suffering, but it's also very bad for business. Trump's a businessman. He wants the oil to flow. He wants the Persian Gulf to stay open for business. He wants this area of the world to be at peace because it's good for him. He has more or less demanded that Israel and Iran put down their arms and stop fighting, and I think he's going to use the full might of American muscle to instill that on the region. And that's a very important thing because Bitcoin rallied up to 112 back during the conference. If you'll recall, right around conference day, we had Bitcoin hit 112,000 because a lot of people, including myself, was very much hoping we were very much hoping that JD Vance was going to announce a Bitcoin strategic reserve or the funding of the Bitcoin strategic reserve or selling off gold stockpiles or something. We didn't get that. Instead, Bitcoin had a wonderful conference. We had a lot of fun, met a lot of you guys, made a lot of great deals, a lot of great contacts. But you didn't have anything earth-shattering at the conference. Again, great conference, We didn't get something earth-shattering like we hoped out of JD Vance. So Bitcoin, basically disappointed with that development or lack thereof, ended up going into a corrective movement. From that point in time, nobody could really ascertain why Bitcoin was bearish. It was a very simple conundrum. Why isn't Bitcoin rallying up to $135,000? Well, I personally believe that the reason that Bitcoin had not rallied up to $135,000 was because it needed time to breathe. It needed time to consolidate. Bitcoin had gone on this massive run. If we look back here, Bitcoin had gone on this enormous run vertical from 74,000 all the way to 112. And a lot of people, myself included, were buying a lot of Bitcoin during that time. But Bitcoin needed to cool off. People were in trades during this whole time. People very wisely started longing down here. When we said the bottom was going to be around $73,000 to $74,000, the bottom was at $73,000 to $74,000. And so people went to long trades here. This is a lot of people taking profits. There's two people taking profits right now. There are the long traders who went into a long to trade this market. And then there's also people like myself that bought Bitcoin. Now, I'm not selling, but there are people that in my shoes that bought Bitcoin down at $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. Guys, I accumulated a bunch of Bitcoin down sub $7,000. I've been here for almost a decade. I've been buying Bitcoin since dinosaurs roamed the space, right? Those people, not me, because I'm holding for even longer. I'm still very young. I'm going to hold until 2040. That's our whole shtick. But those people that maybe they're in their 40s or 50s and they're like, I don't want to hold for another 10 years. I just made a few $1 million. Let's take some profits. They're saying to themselves, all right, we're at $100,000 Bitcoin. That is the target we've been looking at for over a decade. We're going to take some profits. So that's why Bitcoin was going through a corrective movement. But a lot of people couldn't put their finger on why it was happening. That's why it was happening. People in these long trades that made 50% without leverage made 500% with leverage, right? These people are taking their profits and they're doing a very good job of that. And then you've also got long-term hodlers that are taking profits. But the narrative continued to be, why in the world are we correcting? This is where the Iranian-Israeli war came in, the 12-day war as it's being heralded at this point. The 12-day war, if you want to call it that, came in just as we were building a right cup that would probably have built an inverse head and shoulders pattern that would have sent us up to $150,000, and that gave us more of a correction. This ends up being a very bullish thing for the chart. I will not say a good thing for the chart because obviously war is not a good thing, but it ended up being a very bullish development for the chart because Bitcoin got more of a correction. We ended up dropping because of this conflict and not knowing whether it was going to spiral into World War III or nuclear bombs or the destruction of Israel, destruction of Iran, not knowing what's going to happen here. Market drops 10%. You see the S&P 500 going through a major drop as well. At that point in time, not right now, but at that point in time. And so because of that drop on S&P, because of that global instability, you see Bitcoin drop down here sub $100,000 for the first time in almost 45 days. Bitcoin stayed down there for about 24 hours. Actually, I take that back. Not even 24 hours. We stayed down there for less than 24 hours. And at the bottom, we ended up building a very strong uptrend that took us into this place where we are right now. That's kind of how we got here. That's why we have not rallied to 112, 120, 130 yet, but I'm about to explain to you exactly why we are instead about to rally all the way up there. Very excited to share the reason with you that we are about to rally to $112,000 and why I'm in a long trade right now. I highly encourage you guys, if you see an opportunity in the market, try and take it. If you think, man, I'm going to blow up, I'm going to lose all this money. Okay, use $100. Okay, do it, whatever. Get some experience. Guys, there's a lot of money to be made here in this volatility. The wonderful thing about Bitcoin is when the news front is silent and there's not a bunch of black swan events going on, it becomes very easy to make a good trade on Bitcoin so long as you have the right technicals and you have the right equipment, you have the right exchanges, you have the right technical indicators, the right technical analysis. It becomes very easy to profit off of these trades. And so I'm going to share with you kind of the trade setup that I'm in right now. I'm personally long right now. I'm in a trade and I'm very excited about it because I think that Bitcoin is about to break up here to about $110,000. Bitcoin went through this big old rally, just like Bitcoin went through a major rally back here, needed a correction, right? Well, that's what we're getting right now. We're getting a bit of a correction. We're getting a mid-rally corrective movement. I've told you how Bitcoin is in this bull flag with these two downtrends, the downtrending level of support, the downtrending level of resistance. Bitcoin needs to break above the downtrending level of resistance, then it basically teleports to 112. Why? Because all the resistance is gone. You look at visible range volume profile, there's nothing there. Past this downtrending level of resistance, there's very little resistance all the way up to 112. So it becomes very easy for Bitcoin to get to that range. But for Bitcoin to go to 112, it first has to break this downtrend. So for me, if Bitcoin builds a bull flag here, the same way on the longer term is building a bull flag here, then that gives us an excellent opportunity to just take a very simple price target off of the uptrend here, we've got a bull flag that I'm going to explain a little bit more in just a second. That takes us past 112, which I think is what's going to happen. I think that Bitcoin's about to rally to 112, and that's why I'm in a long trade right now. So what are we looking at on the shorter term time frames? Where are we going in the short term? Let's do it. Bitcoin is under this downtrending level of resistance, but at the moment, it's above this critical level of support that we see right here at 106.8. This level of support is my stop loss. My stop loss is right below this, a little bit below 106.8. And the reason that I have this here is because if we break bearish out of what's turning into a bullish descending triangle pattern flag, I'll break that down in a second. If we break bearish out of this, then that's where we're going to want to flip and reverse maybe into a short trade back down to 100K. But if Bitcoin is able to hold here above 106.8, or at the very worst, at the very least, hold here above the visible range volume profile support architecture at 105, that's where, and I wouldn't have the short down there because I wouldn't have our stop loss that low, because then we're flipping the risk or reward below 1, and that's not really what we want. But if Bitcoin is able to hold here above this uptrending, above this flat level of support here, right around 106,800, then that's where we are forced to make a decision out of this triangle pattern very soon. I personally think that one of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to break out right now, or we break back down to 105 on the visible range volume profile, and then we will bounce from there. If we break down here, sure, I'll get stopped out, whatever. We'll re-enter the long trade, because I think at this point in time, you're about to see a breakout. Either you're going to see just a few days of sideways action, probably through the weekend, or you're going to have a break down to 105,000, and then you're going to have the breakout to 112. All of the fundamental reasons that we have not seen a breakout to $112,000 are gone. We have not seen anything this bullish in a very long time, because all of the whales that are taking their profits after holding for a decade, all of the traders that are holding Bitcoin, that were in a long trade that entered around $75,000 or $80,000, they are and have taken their profits. What ends up happening, what you end up seeing happen here, is that when the market goes on a big run, people take profits, and they do this. They try to sell. This is what they do. They try to sell here and then enter here. If a market, let's take visible range volume profile off. If a market does this number, people don't really like to just ride the whole thing. Now, they probably should, because a lot of times that's more profitable, but what they prefer to do is buy here, sell here, buy back in here, and then sell up there, which means that they're short on the downtrend. The issue is they don't know whether they're selling the top or not. They could be selling here, they could be selling here, and you end up increasing the sell side pressure the further you get away from their average entry, which in this case was down around 75. As you get further away from the average entry, the traders become more profitable. They become more likely to flip to bears because they're betting on a short-term correction. Well, the longer that correction goes on and the deeper that correction becomes, the more likely it is that those traders that were bulls on the way up, flipped bearish for a short time, will turn back into bulls, and instead of providing selling pressure, they're now providing buying pressure. That's what we're seeing happen right here, is this reversal away from traders turning bearish because they're trying to short this corrective movement. And we can see the power of this when you look at this giant green candlestick. You can see how these traders that were bullish in April and May flipped bearish to basically short the correction on Bitcoin, or at least stay out of the market so they could get a lower average price. For example, they could exit here, enter here, right? And then they arbitrage the difference between those two levels. They're starting to enter those trades. And you can see that with how powerful, you can see how powerful that is with this green candlestick that came in on Monday. You can also see where we're going because of the United States S&P 500 rallying back up to all-time high. The fact of the matter is, the United States S&P 500 moves the entire Bitcoin market, and the United States S&P 500 is about to break all-time high. Hang on one second. The United States S&P 500 is about to break all-time high, and then from that point in time, Bitcoin's going to do the exact same thing. I see absolutely no reason in the fundamentals or in the technicals that SPY is not about to break all-time high, and therefore I see absolutely no reason why the Bitcoin market is not about to return to all-time high. It is my prediction at this point in time that you're going to see Bitcoin back at 112,000 by middle of next month. Very, very excited to see that take place. Let's go ahead and read some chat. I really appreciate all of you guys for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see how you guys are doing. Not sponsored, but I'm really loving these Ollipops lately. I don't know about you guys. These like quote unquote healthy sodas. I don't know whether they're actually healthy or not. They've been taking the market by storm. It's like soda's healthy again. I didn't know that soda was ever healthy, but for me, I'm gonna be honest. I got a bit of a sweet tooth, right? We need to chill out. So I've been drinking these. What do you guys think? Have you tried these things like the Ollipops and whatnot? Tastes pretty good. Tastes pretty good. All right, let's read a little bit of chat. Appreciate all of you guys for being here today. Kryptoni's in chat. Good to see you. Let's see. Dollar is doing very bad. That's right. The dollar is not doing very well at all. And that's part of the reason why we're going to see, that's why we're about to see a major rally on Bitcoin. Love the new studio and setup. Orange tie is because of the Dutch NATO. No, the orange tie is because of Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin fit. That's what we got to have right here. Let's see. Good to see you, Roll. I have a question. Astahim said, "You look awesome. Your new studio setup is awesome. Please add some Bitcoin books on the shelf as well." Yeah, I've got like a few dozen books here that I need to put up, and I just love to read. So I've always wanted a library. I'm not even calling this my studio, to be honest with you. This is my study. I have always wanted like a gentleman's study, and we got it now. I'm very excited about that. I'm going to be able to get all my books up here. There's going to be a lot more books on these shelves in a little while. They're all sitting in bins in the garage because I haven't had a library. So now we do, and so very excited. I honestly am building this room to suit my liking and then just sticking a camera in it because this is something that I've always wanted. I've always wanted a room where I can go and do my studying. I can do my reading. Very excited about that. These are some cherry wood cabinets. We spent a long time going back and forth between cherry and mahogany. We decided to go with Cherry. Charity's our daughter. And then this is a 1780s colonial china cabinet. Obviously, it's not actually from 1780, but this is a really nice china cabinet. We got a great deal on it. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can't really see it too much from this angle. There's going to be another camera right over there that'll hook up the whole, you'll be able to see the entire studio if I bring somebody in person over there. There's a leather chair that's about to go over there that we'll be having some other videos being produced in. Phone videos are dead, just so you know. People have been saying, "Jeb, the audio sucks." I know. Yeah, the phone video, out the window. It's dead. Not doing that anymore. Whenever we shoot our videos, which we're going to be shooting videos every single day, then we will, they'll be shot here on studio with studio grade lighting, cameras, action, and microphones. So very excited to be upping the production value. I've always told you guys, I don't like green screens. I don't like faking it. This is all real. I built all this myself. It's real. So I love it. I love this studio. I assume this studio is in the same building as the last one, just different furniture. Yes, it is. Yeah, we still have that. It's just kind of mothballed for right now because I wanted an upgrade. We got more room here. We got more room. Boom. All right. Looking good. Thank you. Any questions about Bitcoin? Want to take a few minutes here to answer some questions and see how you guys are doing. How likely is it that we'll blow past that 112 resistance? I think it's becoming increasingly more likely. The fact that Bitcoin, here's part of the reason. Let's break down some more information for you guys. Part of the reason that I'm actually becoming very confident that Bitcoin's just going to blast straight past 112 is because when we tested $100,000, we didn't even come close to like shattering 100. It held so phenomenally. Honestly, the fact that we fell below $100,000 the way that we did and we stayed down there for basically no time at all is actually one of the reasons that I'm so bullish on Bitcoin right now. We fell down below 100K. We did. We broke it. We broke beneath $100,000 and then it got bought up like crazy. The amount of buy pressure for a sub $100,000 Bitcoin was enormous. I cannot stress enough how important that is. Massive, massive, massive amount of buying pressure took place on Bitcoin down here, sub $100,000. So this shows me that people love a sub $100,000 Bitcoin. I love a sub $100,000 Bitcoin. I was one of the people buying down here. I bought down here. We were only down here for what? Let's see. We were down here below $100,000 for 8 hours. That's it. 8 hours. Bitcoin was below 100K. We briefly fell below it here. Here's what that means. Here's why that's so important. The reason that that's so important is because we fell below $100,000, which means we didn't just have a wall, we have a whole area. It's not just $100,000 holds and then it shatters and then we just flash crash. Because we've had support like that before. We've had support like that before where you have the exact, and resistance, where you have the exact level and it holds. But as soon as that level shatters, it's all hell breaks loose. I'm reminded of 2018, back 7 years ago. We were making content every single day at this point in time. Bitcoin had support at $5,800. $5,800 was this big level of support that everybody had a lot of confidence in. And the issue was, as soon as it cracked, it's a little bit like a submarine, right? As soon as it imploded, as soon as it popped, it implodes. And it's kind of like having, a fish tank, right? You get one little crack, and if you're not careful, the whole thing just shatters, right? And that's what happened with 58,000. As soon as we fell below about $6,000 at this point in time. Specifically, it was this uptrend. I remember this. You can go back, watch us commentate on this. This was 2018. We were making content every day. We uploaded video 7 days a week back then also. Soon as we fell below, you have this cascading series of short liquidations. You have this cascading crash. That's not what just happened. Bitcoin fell below $100,000, and $100,000 was not just this piece of glass floor where as soon as you break it, you're just done, where you break 100K and then you just flash crash down to 84. No, that's not, or even down to 95 or down 92. No, the fact that we fell below it and we rallied in such a spectacular fashion, we actually rallied even stronger than we corrected. Here's the inclination of the rally. Here's the inclination of the downtrend, give or take. You can see how much steeper the rally was than the crash that led into it. The way that we fell back down to $100,000 gives me the confidence to say that 112 is coming. And it also gives me the confidence to say right now is a decent time to be entering into a long trade. So that's what we've done, taken out a long position. Very excited to bring you guys some trading content, share with you guys where I'm entering into those trades finally. So very excited. Looking at this buy signal, this bull flag that's being built right here. And also one final thing to mention is LuxAlgo. LuxAlgo is doing a great job. If we look at the daily chart, we are potentially just dollars away from a buy signal flashing. I love that we have a sell signal right now. I love it because what happens with this is that when Bitcoin does start to go off to the races, you're going to see that green sell signal come in, that green trend catcher come in, and that's going to be your perfect setup on the daily chart for a multiple day long trade. It's going to give you a perfect opportunity to long from where we are right now all the way back to 112. There's quite a bit of room there for an entry. If you were to get in, say, I don't know, let's say it breaks 108 and you get in 108.250 all the way back to all-time high, that's 3.5%. You get some leverage in there. That's 35-50% return pretty easily. And it's a very simple, easy to predict movement. So I'm very excited about where Bitcoin is going. I do think that we are onto one of the final parts of this phase where we're trading between 100 and 112. I think that our time in that range is limited. I really do. I believe that our time below 112 is at this point becoming a limited amount of time to be getting entries at that level. So let's go ahead and read a little bit of chat. Again, love you guys being here. Very excited to have you all here. No rate cuts until at least September and August. September is Bitcoin's worst month. Seasonally, we are going back down. It dropped down to 92 as possible because there is a CME futures gap down there. My thing is, if you do see the United States S&P 500 going into, and keep telling me what you guys think. I like to have an open conversation. If you do see a breakout on US S&P 500, the likelihood of a drop on Bitcoin is astronomically low. The United States stock market leads Bitcoin. Not so much that it front runs it, but it kind of directs it. If we just clear our chart here and I show you the comparison between the two, what you're going to find is that Bitcoin and US S&P, basically the overall United States market, track very closely. You see a lot of people talking about M2. M2 is great. I love M2. Bitcoin does follow M2. But Bitcoin has also always followed the stock market. There are fleeting times here where Bitcoin countertrades the market, but that's normally for some fundamental reason that you can discern. So, for example, here, the reason that we traded sideways for so long is because this entire rally was built on the hype around the Bitcoin ETFs coming online. That hype basically died because it had already been accepted. And so that's when we counter traded the United States S&P 500. But that didn't last. We ended up continuing into a rally along with S&P 500. S&P 500 went through an enormous drop down here to early April. This was the tariffs fear that Bitcoin was responding to along with S&P 500. As the US S&P 500 starts to break all-time high, you're going to see the same thing happen for Bitcoin, considering the United States S&P 500 and the Bitcoin market are both very close to their respective all-time highs. So don't be surprised to see a major breakthrough coming to Bitcoin very soon. I fully expect that to take place. All right, let's read a little bit more chat. Appreciate you guys being here. All right, Powell will bend the knee eventually. I don't think he's going to yet. If we looked, let's see, Fed Watch CME Group. A lot of people predict, when is the Fed going to cut rates? When are they not? For me, it's just as simple as looking at this tool, the Fed Watch tool. They almost always get this right. They very rarely don't get this right. I mean, it is CME Group after all. This is Chicago Mercantile Exchange Group. They very, very rarely get this wrong. They're calling for a 77% likelihood that there's no cut. They're calling for a 22.7% likelihood that there is a cut at the next meeting here in 34 days. That next meeting will be on July the 30th, and it's looking like we're not going to have a rate cut. At this point in time, CME Group is predicting for a rate cut by the September meeting, September 17th. So there's probably one more cut coming this year. Maybe two. CME Group is predicting most likely that there will be between 2 and 3 cuts this year, but time will tell on that. We shall see. Guys, we're going to have to wrap it out here pretty soon. Really appreciate all of you guys coming, checking out the stream. A lot more content coming. Stay tuned. I've got a lot of work to do in this studio. It's nowhere near done. I know it looks really great, but there's still a lot to do. So be on the lookout for that. We've got this new set being built right over here as well, so that's going to be very nice. Need to keep my pocket protector in there. Let's see. Now that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have to accept Bitcoin and crypto as part of their calculation to determine eligibility of mortgages, we now don't have to sell anymore to qualify for a home loan. And that is one really big development that we're seeing, is that for a long time, you weren't able to use, this is a great point that you make, for a long time, and even currently for many, you have not been able to use your net worth in cryptocurrency to impact your eligibility for a mortgage, which has been kind of ridiculous because they don't consider it money, even though it's redeemable for cash. You can use it to buy and sell goods. They just kind of say, we have to calculate your net worth without looking at your cryptocurrency assets, which is ridiculous because the cryptocurrency assets are worth something. That is changing, and a big part of the reason that is changing, and this is the kernel of truth, and what's important here. There's really two, but one's more obvious than the other. The thing that's most obvious is that this is going to allow people to hold their Bitcoin for longer because they don't have to sell it into cash to prove that they have enough money to buy a home, which is normally one of the biggest things people will ever do with money. So this is really important, right? But the other component, so now they can just hold on to the Bitcoin and use it as not so much collateral, but proof of funds. And this isn't just Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. A lot of banks are going in this direction of validating, of using cryptocurrency assets as proof of funds to qualify for a loan. So, for example, if you're going to get a $500,000 mortgage, they're going to want to see at least several $100,000 of assets so that you don't end up just defaulting on the mortgage and they lose their money, because they don't want you to go into foreclosure any more than you want to go into foreclosure, because then they're left holding the bag, and that's a regulatory headache. Now, the other reason that this is important, and the main reason this is important is because it signals that the overall banking sector, it signals that the overall TradFi sector is moving in the direction of trusting Bitcoin. It means that we're moving in the direction of Bitcoin being accepted on the same level as traditional assets. And that is something that we cannot ignore. It's a very, very, very important development. The traditional assets market, which is basically everything except the cryptocurrencies market, is worth hundreds of trillions of dollars. When you legitimize Bitcoin as this, when you start to bring down the barriers of you've got TradFi, DeFi, and you just have finance. I'm not saying we shouldn't be DeFi. I'm not saying that we want to emulate TradFi, because we don't. We want to come in and we want to change it dramatically. But when you start to break down those barriers and you start to say, no, Bitcoin is real, it's here to stay. DeFi is not this thing under TradFi. It's on the side, in some ways even greater than TradFi in a lot of ways. That's when you legitimize Bitcoin. That's when you legitimize altcoins, and that's what's coming. And you're seeing that in every sector. Just like we talked about yesterday on stream, when you are looking at the overall narrative of this cycle, I think that the narrative for 2025 is actually the death of the narrative need. I think the narrative of this cycle is the death of the need for a narrative. I personally believe that when you look at what made this market successful, it's not going to be any one thing. More so, the thing that you're going to look at that made this bull market successful was that it was everything, right? It's not that Bitcoin invaded in one front. It captured one city. It took out one castle. It made one advancement. It dropped one bomb. It's really that just everything, the floodgates opened, and Bitcoin became real to the traditionals. It became just as serious. I really appreciate all of you for tuning in, and that's really the biggest takeaway I want to give you today, is that this is here to stay. Bitcoin's not going anywhere, and neither a lot of the altcoins. We're seeing the exact same thing take place with the altcoins. A lot of the altcoins are becoming very legitimized. Ethereum has its own ETF. Solana and XRP ETFs are coming very soon. I really do believe that you're going to see a lot of growth in Bitcoin and in the altcoin space. So look for long trades. There's a lot of them right now. There's some trades that I want to show you in tomorrow's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live on some of the altcoins. Make sure to tune in for that as well. And stay tuned because we've got a lot of developments coming. We're going to read a little bit of chat and then we're going to wrap it out. There's no second best to Bitcoin unless you have 2 to 3 month alt season. And we'll see. There might be an alt season. And then Bitcoin crashes 80% and brings real estate down with it. Yay. I don't think Bitcoin would crash the real estate market. I think the real estate market, well, at least in the short term. In the long term, it will, because it's going to devalue. It's going to commoditize. Bitcoin is going to commoditize the real estate market. It's going to rip the undergirding out of the real estate market, because people are going to realize that Bitcoin is the base rate and real estate is not. And when that happens, you're going to see it turn into a buyer's market for everybody in theory, because prices are going to crash. They're not going to crash all at once, but they're going to crash over a 10 to 15 year period. We've already seen this happen. The devaluation of Bitcoin, of the housing market against Bitcoin, has been in full effect. It used to cost $100 Bitcoin to buy the average house. Now it costs 1 or 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 Bitcoin, 5 Bitcoin, something like that. And that's going to continue. And you're going to see the real estate market drop down to its commodity value, which is basically just what it cost in labor and in materials to build. And then you're going to see Bitcoin just take off, because it's going to start to suck some of the value out of that. You even see this happening. Grant Cardone, for example, Cardone Capital, they've got like $4 billion in real estate, right? What are they doing? Now they're doing real estate and Bitcoin. You know what that means? That means they're taking money away that would be going into real estate and they're putting it in Bitcoin. They're not the only ones doing that. Grant is not the only guy that's doing that. Everybody's doing that. I was going to go into real estate big time. Forget that. Dump everything into Bitcoin. Same thing with the alts. They're going to outperform it as well. The future is here for those of you that are ready to receive it. I hope you've enjoyed today's stream. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this piece of content with somebody that you think would find it valuable. We're going to wrap it out here in the next 1 to 2 minutes. Jeb, what is your Bitcoin target for 2024 to 2028 cycle? By the end of 2028, I believe that Bitcoin will have at least passed $200,000 to $250,000 at least once. By the end of this decade, I believe that Bitcoin will have hit at least $300,000 to $350,000. By 2035, I believe that Bitcoin will have hit $1 million. By 2040, I believe that Bitcoin will be trading at between $2 to $5 million per coin. So stay very tuned, stay very up to date with that. It's something you don't want to miss. Guys, hope you enjoyed today's stream. We're going to wrap it out. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned for more content. We got a lot more coming. I love you so much. Follow the Lord Jesus. And before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.